Vietnam crypto insights from the top of Vietnam. Vietnam crypto insights, and we are back up in the beautiful land of SAPA, man. This place is pristine wonderland. Lots of fun activities, some of them a little bit dangerous, man. You really don't want to get caught slipping over here, literally and figuratively, because there are no guardrails in a lot of places. And, but, you know, it's kind of like crypto. Not a lot of guardrails there. I mean, there's some that's getting there, but it's still not a lot of guardrails. So, you know, I'm at home here. At any rate, a lot of activity going on in the markets. First, I want to welcome everybody back. You know, whether you're an expat or a local here in Vietnam, you know, I appreciate you. Welcome you to the show. You know, we drop what I like to say is macroeconomic, macro global picture of crypto. You know, sometimes we have interviews for project founders, and I hope you guys are staying caffeinated and profitable because you know what? Let's be real. We both need to survive in this chaotic market. You know, today, you know, we've got Trump that's been shaking up things once again. You know, the guy, you know, he takes 2 steps forward and 1 step back as it pertains to crypto, you know, and, you know, some of the other news we have is the SEC that's sort of playing nice. And, you know, we got some big whale moves and some other activity going on in Hong Kong. But for a little local flavor, you know, I stepped into the old quarter in Hanoi this past week. Checked out GM Vietnam, which is actually the premier crypto event other than ETH Vietnam, which is going on this week. And Hanoi, man, I tell you, Hanoi is crowded, chaotic, full of people yelling and yelling about the next big thing. It's some are legit, some are scammers, and some just want to sell you some overpriced trinkets. And it's sort of kind of like crypto, isn't it? And shout out to SAPA and the rice terraces here and the beautiful people. They got the Hmong, they got the Zai, and I can't remember, is it the Dao? I don't think there's too many Dao here, but you know, it's a beautifully layered, kind of like a DeFi protocol, right? You know, but you know, one wrong step and bam, you tumbling faster than a shit coin after a rug pull. So, you know, drop a comment if you ever been to Hanoi or SAPA, you know, or seen some of these beautiful rice terraces here, man. Some of the great people here, some of the Hmong people, man. So cool. Anyway, so here, just start off, Uncle Trump, King Trump, as we should call him, since he likes to be a dictator. Man, he's out here causing a lot of FUD, man, you know, with the tariff threats and the constant debasing of, you know, every other country and their leader and just really just being a menace to the globe. You know, the New York Times says, you know, it's hitting imports hard, you know, but guess who's benefiting? You know, Vietnam, their factories. That's his little silver lining, I guess, right? Or maybe not. But, you know, when the bad inflation data and the job numbers hit, guess what? King Trump, he wants to kill the messenger because it's not looking good for him. Any rate, you know, enough about him. He craves the attention and, you know, we all give him too much. But, you know, it's unfortunate that, you know, he's got to be in the picture the whole time with this. But one good thing that he actually has done this past week is he signed an executive order letting retirement funds hold crypto. You know, that's right. Boomers, they can finally hold Bitcoin and Ethereum in their ETFs or their 401ks, I should say. You know, imagine your grandpa asking, how do I stake my Ethereum? You know, we've come a long way, folks. That's $12 trillion of funds involved. That's a lot of Skrilla. But, you know, is this good for adoption, or is this setting us all up for failure? I can just imagine a future House or congressional hearing with your grandpa saying, I just lost my life savings because of that Bitcoin ETF that tanked. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. At any rate, some of the big news for the XRP army out there, SEC and Ripple. I said this repeatedly the past couple months. I don't know. I think that the SEC or the courts they didn't allow the lawsuit to be fully dropped at the point a few months ago. I think I made a premature announcement a couple months ago on this, but the SEC and Ripple finally mutually and jointly dismissed their appeal. And I think they're done. I hope they're done. It says they're done. And I think they have to get the court approval once again. And this is like two exes finally unfollowing each other on Instagram. Awkward, but necessary. So all the XRP holders, your bags just might get a little bit lighter, So what's your take on this? Is this bullish or just another distraction? Let me know in the comments what you think. Another story, Sharplink Gaming. They just dropped $66 million on ETH. And Bitmine, they're sitting on a casual $2.9 billion. And meanwhile, Vitalik's over here sweating bullets. He's warning about concentration risk. And, that's something that I've actually talked about in the show. And I think this is actually a big concern. We've got people like Michael Saylor and BlackRock, of course, and they're hoarding. They're hoarding the crypto. And that's not really what crypto was made to do. And I know it's good for the price action when it goes up anyway. But, if anything happens to either one of these entities, or if they, for one reason or other, decide to drop, whether it's for price manipulation, or maybe they just are seeking greener or safer pastures, that will cause absolute chaos in the market. So, I want to know your thoughts. What's your thoughts on this? Is this good? We got all these institutions holding all these assets that are supposed to be for the common people to actually equalize things. I don't know. Good and bad. It's a double-edged sword. Talking about a double-edged sword, we got Hong Kong. They issued some new stablecoin rules, and those took effect August 1st. They're allowing entities to actually, I believe, bid on doing stablecoins in the market. It's not a multi-tiered type of setup as it is with the Genius Act in the U.S., where they can set forth different thresholds of security to either be a state or federal entity that's holding stablecoins. And some of the negative thoughts is that it might be a little bit too stringent. Say for instance, if a stablecoin holder in Singapore, I think they have a $1 million requirement. In the U.S., they have you have to buy the federal treasury. You have the whole treasuries. You have a 1-to-1 ratio of treasury for your stablecoin. So, actually it props up the Fed. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, yeah, we're legitimizing things, but at the same time, we're propping up the same old system that these digital assets were actually meant to be a counterbalance for. So, that's basically it in a nutshell as far as what I feel are the main global macroeconomic things that are happening in the crypto sphere. Let me know your thoughts. Did I miss anything? And if you enjoyed this, please smash that like button, subscribe, drop a comment. Let me know what you want to see next. Market deep dives, some more travel tidbits, or just me ranting about shitcoins or the latest Trump action, or inaction, I should say. Until next time, fam, peace. And, crypto's wild for everybody that's new at this, but, so is life. It's whether you're trading or you're dodging motorbikes in Hanoi, stay sharp, stay skeptical, stay focused, DYOR. None of this is financial advice, of course. And always keep it coffee and crypto. And I will see you next time.